Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Sports on a Positive Tip. We have hot conversations at the intersection of sports and faith. This is Kenny along with Kenny Squared. And Kenny, I have just one quick thing in the opening. We talked last week about the Armando Galarraga thing and how the commissioner didn't want to change that to put his name in the record book because he felt other things would come up. And he didn't elaborate on that. And so as I thought about it, and Mike Greenwell passed away last week. Mike Greenwell, a little bit before your time where you really like to watch baseball, but he was a great player for the Red Sox for a long time. I think 14, 16 years, very young, 62 years old. He passed away. But I remember when Jose Canseco first came out and said how he was on steroids, and he admitted, everything Canseco did. There was a groundswell back then, and Bud Selig was still a commissioner, to take away his 1988 MVP award and give it to Mike Greenwell. And so, real quick, I want to give you those stats because they felt like his award was tainted. Um, so Greenwell that year had 192 hits, 39 doubles, 22 homers, 119 RBIs. He only struck out 38 times. He batted 325. He had a 416 on base percentage and he had a 946 OPS. That was his best year, not by far. He had a lot of great years like that, but that was his best year. Canseco that year had a special year. He went 40-40. He had 40 stolen bases and 42 home runs. So he had 42 homers, 124 RBIs. He batted 307. Um, he had a 391 on base percentage and a 959 OPS, 187 hits. People were really making the case when Canseco came out for Greenwell to get the MVP. I think this what might be what the commissioner is afraid of the steroid stuff, because people will start to say, take these homers off the books for Barry Bonds, take these strikeouts off the books for Roger Clemens, um, take the MVP awards away from Barry Bonds. What say you?
Hard to take away records.
Yeah.
And if we're going to take away one thing, the only one I would ask on top of it, the 2017 World Series. Heck, even give it to the Dodgers. Just don't give it to the Astros. But they're not going to do it.
What? Why did I think you were going to say that? I think that's what he's afraid of, and I had forgotten that until Mike Greenwell passed. God rest his soul. And I was like, man, that was a big deal. People were really, especially fans in Boston, were like, then Canseco wasn't the real MVP. Take it away. So what the difference is, though, is that in this Galarraga thing, we're looking to add, right? We're looking to add Galarraga to the list of people who threw a perfect game. We're not looking to take anything away. So anyway, we have got this unbelievable news that broke this morning. We normally do our show, record our show in the morning, but this worked out today since we're doing it this afternoon. We got to get into this whole NBA thing. We've got NFL, we've got the World Series. You ready to go?
Let's get into it. Let's go.
This episode of Sports on the Positive Tip is brought to you by the Tavern Coffee House. Attention, coffee lovers! Are you craving the perfect cup of coffee to start your day? Well, look no further than the Tavern Coffee House. It's located at 12302 Buckeye Road in Cleveland, Ohio. You can also check them out and order your coffee at thetaverncoffee.com. Hey there, everybody. This is Kenny and
Kenny Squared.
with the Sports on the Positive Tip podcast. Kenny, this is just unbelievable. I can't say that I'm shocked. You and I have talked about this for quite some time now. At least we've been doing the show since 2020. At least 4 of those 5 years, we've talked about gambling and how this has, now become the fabric, with sports. There are sponsors everywhere. And we have nothing against gambling. We don't gamble. We're men of God. We're pastors. We don't gamble. But I don't have anything against people that gamble, casually. Some people lose their life savings. Some people lose their home. There are folks that just do it for the thrill of it. But now, as it becomes so easy to do, you and I had said there's gonna be athletes that are going to do it, that are going to gamble. And we've already seen someone kicked out of the NBA. Seen someone kicked out of Major League Baseball, probably two more. As soon as they get that going, we saw a really good wide receiver with Calvin Ridley gone for a year, and he's never been the same because football, you lose a year like that. Now we see this morning. Chauncey Billups, Hall of Fame player, Chauncey Billups, developing into a pretty good coach, makes a really good salary. His is really odd. He gets arrested after he coaches the game. He gets arrested at 6 a.m. this morning at his house over in Oregon, in Portland. And his is kind of weird. Let's take them one at a time. So his is a little bit weird because apparently he's involved with these mafia gangsters and he's part of where they are having illegal equipment. They're the gambling machines, the card things that shuffles the cards. Um, what were your thoughts? Tell us what you're thinking here. We'll start with just Chauncey Billups, and then we'll move to Rozier and Damon Jones, which is kind of all the same.
The Chauncey Billups thing to me is like the most like, what in the world were you thinking?
Yeah.
Um, because like dealing with like mob bosses, rigging card games to make money, and I agree. Like he's not only was he not like he's making a good salary, especially for an NF or NBA head coach,
Oh yeah.
but also like he had a pretty good career. While
Well,
we're talking, I'll try to look up his career earnings.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, we've talked about this. Um, Chauncey Billups earned $106 million over his 17-year NBA career. I don't know why I keep saying
That's
NFL.
just crazy, right?
Uh,
Now he played at least a year with the Knicks, right? And we liked him here. He did well. Um, that's just crazy. So 106 million, and he's involved in this. How does that happen?
I don't know. And also, he made $4.7 million last year as a head coach.
He's a
And
well
like,
compensated like head coach. Yeah,
oh gosh, because it was between him and and the gal whose name I'm forgetting, and I feel
yeah,
bad that I'm forgetting it.
yeah.
But
No, I
now
know what
she's
you're
gone
talking.
on to win 4 titles with the
Yeah,
WNBA. So
WNBA, right? She was with the Spurs before. It'll come to us. Yeah, I know what you're talking.
yeah,
Yeah,
but like I think that's the first thing is like what in the world are you thinking? But then also to me, this is a bigger deal than the players because as the head coach, you
oh,
can alter a game so much more.
oh,
Because like obviously, like I don't know if you've seen any of the highlights of Terry Rozier in a couple games, one particularly against Cleveland, where like you could tell he wasn't trying. Like
really?
he's hauling up air balls. He's
Wow.
like telegraphing passes that he knows are gonna get picked off. There was one where he like threw it to the like basically was trying to throw it to one of his teammates, and then it gets intercepted, and he doesn't even go and try to run it down.
Wow.
Um, there's a few, and like, and with this new information, you're like, oh well, duh, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but as a head coach, when you're talking about like managing the right plays, calling timeouts at the right times,
Right.
in today's game, using challenges properly, like there are so many different things. And we said this, like we've talked about gambling being an issue for years now. And what do we always say? It would be someone that's in kind of the mid tier level that's looking to try to make a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Um, and like Billups is kind of in that realm too.
Yeah.
But it's like I think that the NBA in general, because like it's not a they don't know. They didn't know what they were doing, especially like you're dealing with mob bosses and rigging card games. Like you know what you're doing.
It's over a period of
Um,
time. Yeah.
and like and also I know it's the case in the NFL. I know it's the case in Major League Baseball. I'm assuming it's the case in the NBA. Not just like players or coaches, but like anyone that works for either a team or the league has to go through like gambling training every
Yeah.
like if you like I think it was Chris Rose that says it because he does NFL Network stuff. He says that he has to go through training every year of like they're not allowed to gamble on anything. I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
And it's like, um, just like the to me, it just goes back to like, what is going on in your head, like where you need that much, like 108 plus whatever he's made as a coach. Like you're talking about a guy that's made like 125 million dollars.
Yeah.
Even if you put 1% of that away
Uh,
and invest it,
yeah.
like you're set for life. Like I
Yeah.
don't understand what you're thinking.
Yeah, and Billups' case is saying that he's involved with some pretty high level gangsters. It's saying that that he's laundering money through shell companies. There's a lot there. It doesn't accuse Billups yet of actually gambling on games or anything like that. But then we have Terry Rozier and Damon Jones. Terry Rozier, a good NBA player, been a good NBA player for a long time. Celtics first, Charlotte, been with Miami the last couple of years. Now his name came up in 2023 as part of an investigation, and nothing seemed to have come of that. But now he's involved in a little bit more, as is Damon Jones. So with Damon Jones, Paul LeBron James' name has come up here because, and so has Damian Lillard's, because Damon Jones is kind of this assistant coach on some of the other teams, ad hoc type assistant coach now um, on the Lakers. Very close to LeBron James. He was on those early Cavalier teams. Damon Jones was a good player, bounced around to a lot of teams, but apparently they have him sending text messages about when LeBron James is going to play or not. And then when Damian Lillard was going to play or not when he was an assistant coach last year with the Bucks. But Rozier, he's accused of being right in the thick of things, tipping off who's going to play, who's not going to play, uh, who's going to not play on the other team. The NBA doesn't really announce that stuff to the last minute. As an example, we didn't think Karl Anthony Towns was going to play last night. They were upgrading him, downgrading him, and he wound up playing, right? The NBA is not like the NFL where they announce the injuries, beforehand, and they have to. Um, what are you thinking with Rozier and Jones in this?
Um, there's a few things. First, the NBA has an insider trading problem.
Yeah.
There's also like, if you remember back with the Tim Donaghy situation, the
Yep.
ref that
Mhm.
was up in that. I listened to a whole podcast on it. I should try to find it and send it to you. It's kind of long, but it's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Um, but with that one, he talked about how in like the referee meetings, they would say we got to focus on this, especially like in the playoffs. Like we got to focus on. He was talking about Allen Iverson and how and like watch for like carries or travel or whatever. And so
Right.
that would be like the focus. So like he would use that to know who to bet on. And like I don't know, it just kind of seems like there's something bigger here because why does it also feel like, and I could be wrong, it just kind of the feeling that I get is that the NBA kind of gotten blindsided by it.
Yeah. I do too. I get the
Because
same.
like because it's the first, it's the beginning of the season. You're telling me that you couldn't have like a week ago felt like this was coming and been like, yeah, we're gonna place Chauncey Billups on admin leave as well as Terry Rozier. Like, I don't know. It just kind of seems like
That's a
they
great
didn't see it
point.
coming.
That's a great point.
And
Yeah, go ahead. That's a great
but
point.
also like Major League Baseball saw two pitches from Emmanuel Clase and knew that he was betting him.
Yeah.
So like, how do you not see Terry Rozier, who supposedly faked an injury that he told players about ahead of time, so that he could get an under and pay all of his cronies with it? Or like, I'll have to show you the video because it's wild how awful he played.
Wow. Wow. I'll answer your question what I think. I do think that the FBI probably kept the NBA investigators at arm's length, but I also think that the FBI let the first opening, I mean, because this was a big opening day, right? With OKC and the Rockets, Warriors, Lakers. But Also because it was on NBC, right? And it's bringing NBC back. And then last night was a big deal because Inside the NBA was now on ESPN. And so I don't think that was a coincidence that they waited those 2 days, let them get their season started, because they probably could have did this Tuesday or they probably could have did this even Monday before the season started, right? But they chose to wait. But so that tells me that they probably involved the NBA right at the end. And the NBA probably begged them, listen, wait till Thursday, please. Let's have our 2 days here, because the ratings were crazy through the roof for Rockets and OKC, on Tuesday night. Listen, I'll also answer my opinion on your question with the NBA. Their heads are buried in the sand. I think almost all of these sports, they need to get the commissioners and their security teams in a room somewhere and get this resolved. I just think that their heads are buried in the sand. And do they want it to get much worse? Already, you got a coach here. And it looks like right now, maybe they'll dig a little further. It looks like right now, Billups wasn't involved in throwing games and stuff like that, but he's involved in something that's just as bad, because the FBI director said, listen, there were people that were roughed up. This is the mafia that you're dealing with. There were people that were robbed at gunpoint for some of this equipment, and Billups is involved with these people. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And here you have an NBA player, a good NBA player. And by the way, I think the contract he signed with Charlotte was 4 years, $96 million. It was his last contract from a few years ago that he had to extend. No, he ain't broke either. I'm just like, but I don't think they do it for that. You got now the guy who got, Michael Porter Jr.'s brother who got suspended for the year. Okay. He was a very low level player, but even low level players are making $500,000 a year. I, Kenny, this is we got to keep an eye on this. This taints. I've been so excited about the NBA and the Knicks, and this is going to be a black cloud hanging over. Now, last thing for me, and then if you want to wrap it up, is that the NBA did respond quickly. This is why I think they knew. So, of course, Billups is out as coach for now. They put them both on leave. Damon Jones can't coach right now either, and Rozier is on leave as well. So the NBA responded pretty quickly. I think they had no choice. But I can tell you, this coach that took over for Portland, I don't think he has anything to worry about whether Billups is coming back or not, unless Billups is totally acquitted of everything. But I think he's like, okay, I think this is my job to lose now. Um, oh gosh. All right. You want to add anything else? Go ahead.
I had a couple things here
Yeah.
because to me, the double standard to me is still crazy. And like, I know it's different, but it's still a double standard. ESPN is talking about this story. You have Shams up on there. And on the bottom banner, they have ESPN Bet. And like, I understand that it's different. And I understand that there's I know that there's a difference, but there's still something to that where it's like, not just ESPN, all of the networks, all of these leagues are so in bed with these betting companies. And sports betting has just exploded. So 38 states right now have legalized sports betting. And I would bet, no pun intended, that the 12 that aren't are pretty close to states that are.
Yeah.
Because here in Ohio, there were people that would go to Pennsylvania and do sports betting and then come back.
Yeah.
I know the same was when New York, it wasn't legal yet, and then it was in New Jersey. But the killer is sports betting made $19.7 billion last year.
Wow.
Which was up 25% from 2023.
That's great.
I can only imagine that 25 billion or more will be the number when we come to the end of this year. So it's like, this is an industry that's getting bigger. And what's happening is not just we have players that you have to question their motives. Like, there's never well, this guy just looked at a strike three because he was fooled. Like, well, maybe he was trying to make a three-leg parlay and make 20,000 off that.
Yeah.
Or there's also the aspect of, and we've talked about this a little bit, where fans who have more access now to athletes, are getting upset because they're losing bets because these guys aren't playing well.
Yeah.
And we have athletes getting death threats
Yeah.
and all of these awful things being said about them just because they messed up. I don't know. I know it's a big and I know like they do have the restrictions. Like they always say, gamble responsibly. You still only you have to be 21 or over. But I'm kind of starting to get on the bandwagon of sports betting needs to decrease, not increase in our country.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. There's so much I can add to that, but I won't. You said it so well. I think that these sports, all of the sports, and they've never been so popular, you know. NFL, more people are watching, and everybody's making money, right? The streaming services and everything like that. I mean, more and more people are watching. So there's never been a time where these betting apps are making more money, and because I think it's so easy that forget it. It's out of control. It already has been. It's been out of control for a little while now, but now it's just now starting to come out. This is really, I think, still just the beginning. All right. World Series is all set. George Springer hits the big home run. Um, that's your favorite guy. Listen, you admitted to me, and so you can admit it here. He's not a good post. He's a legendary now. I'm putting him up there with Bernie, with some of these guys, Derek Jeter, uh, Chipper Jones, some of these guys that just rise to the occasion in the postseason. I'm putting him up there, man. Springer with this 3-run homer in the bottom of the eighth inning, which capped off a very exciting league championship series in the American League. And the Dodgers took care of business. The Brewers only scored 4 runs in 4 games. That was amazing. And so now here we are, right? We've got the Brewers and the Blue. I'm sorry, we've got the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. What are you thinking?
I want both teams to lose. That's what I'm thinking. Um, but okay, so a few things. First of all, I do agree George Springer is an excellent postseason hitter.
Yeah,
That's why what he did in 2017 is so puzzling. Um, but what the Blue Jays did in that series was also really impressive.
yeah,
They are the first team since the 96 Yankees to lose the first 2 games at home of the best of 7 and come back and win the
yeah.
series.
That's
Uh,
yeah.
Takes a lot of fortitude. Um, Real quick on the game 7 itself. First of all, one of the classic game 7s. We haven't had a really great game 7 since 2016.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but the Mariners manager, Dan Wilson, definitely was overthinking a little. Like you got the meteor order coming up in the 7th inning. Bring in your closer. It's do or die. There's no tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You figure out the 9th inning if you have to,
Yeah.
or you just say you the closer. You finish this out. Because if that was Edwin Diaz, if that was David Bednar,
Yeah.
like
It,
door closed.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but the moment that will stick out to me, if I were a Mariners fan, which I'm not, I have some friends that are, but if I were a Mariners fan, the image of Julio Rodriguez striking out on ball 6
Oh,
would bother me so much.
and you got 60 home run guy waiting on deck
Yeah,
who had a good series. You know what I mean? I was stunned because Rodriguez, he's in this series and a few years ago, right against Houston, he's risen to the occasion in these big games. I was stunned. It was almost like the moment got to him. I mean, that pitch wasn't even close, you know.
yeah.
So I
None of them were.
stunned. Yeah, I was really stunned. I think, Dan Wilson, listen, to get the team that far, he's a good manager. You talked about the leadership of the Mariners all these years, and but I would have not had Rivas up there in the ninth inning. They had to have somebody else that they could have pinch hit for him. I mean, he really had he was in there for his defense, and I don't know who. I didn't do enough research to say, hey, they had somebody else on the bench that they could have pinch hit for, but It was almost like they gave away those first two outs, but I think it's going to be a great World Series. So I think that the Dodgers will win their second straight title for the first time since when, Ken? 2000 Yankees, right? 2000, 2001, not 2001, right? 99 and 2000.
Yeah,
Uh,
three-peat.
yeah, so they had a three-peat back then. So I think that the Dodgers will win this, but it's going to be a great series. Last quick thing for me, and then you can wrap it up. So that's my pick. I'm picking the Dodgers, I think in six. Um, the opposite of the Mariners not bringing their closer in was the way John Schneider lined his pitching up. I mean, he had his starters coming after that. He wasn't playing. Man. He had Kevin Gausman, he had Chris Bassett, and those guys were lights out. And then he put his closer in the ninth inning. He was able to, the Mariners didn't have that luxury because of the way they played the rest of the series, but he should have brought his closer in the seventh inning. You're right. And so who's your pick now?
All right, well, like I said, I want both teams to lose. I hope that that Ohtani gets blamed for gambling, and then it's the Brewers that go to the World Series, and then a scandal comes out that they were using trash cans in Toronto, and then they give the Yankees it. But seriously, um, this is the fifth World Series where one team swept and then the other team went seven.
Yeah.
The previous four, the team that went seven won in 5 games or less.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Blue Jays
Okay.
for a few reasons. I think the rest will really get to the Dodgers a little bit. Rest versus rust is always an interesting topic in
Really is.
in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Um, the only thing that kind of gets me a little bit concerned is the Brewers are a very similar team to the Blue Jays, where they're kind of a little bit scrappy, take the extra base, contact type of team. And the Dodgers shut them down.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, you look at the Blue Jay, like you look at the Brewers, they were coming off of a little bit of a layoff because of the Phillies, and they hadn't played a lot. The Blue Jays have been playing consistently because a lot of their series, except for the Yankees, have gone full. So I think I give the edge to the Blue Jays there.
Yeah.
The other reason is because I don't want to start hearing the narrative that the Dodgers are bad for baseball. Because they're not. The Dodgers don't have the highest payroll. They're not outspending in free agency. I mean, the Mets spent more money than them in free agency. The
Yeah.
Mets and the Yankees had a higher payroll than them this year.
Yeah.
Um, they have a star that decided to take a pay cut so that they can get more stars.
Yeah.
And we have to stop shaming players for doing that.
Yeah.
Because if that was our team, we would applaud them. We applauded Jalen Brunson taking $100 million less to try to get Karl Anthony Towns and
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges and all the other guys. So I do think it will be the Blue Jays. That's what I'm not rooting for anyone because I want both teams to lose. But I think that'll be better. That'll be better for baseball overall.
Yeah. It would be. And I'm with you on the Dodgers. I mean, some of their big ticket guys have not worked out. When's the last time Tanner Scott pitched in the postseason? Or Kirby Yates might be hurt, but Tanner Scott, they put him on the wraps, man. He's in a witness protection program or something.
He'll come into a game in a bad situation and
Yeah.
give up a home run to Vladdy.
Yeah. Hey, last quick thing on baseball is that there is a documentary on Netflix. I know it's hard for you to sit down and watch them. This is about an hour and a half, and it's called Who Killed the Montreal Expos. And I watched it yesterday. I had a little time in the afternoon, and it was very good. And but you sometimes forget how many great players came out of the Montreal Expos. Gary, I just put five. Gary Carter, and these are Hall of Famers. Gary Carter, Andre Dawson, Pedro Martinez, Vladimir Guerrero Sr., and Tim Raines. I mean, all those guys, and they couldn't keep any of them, for the long term. They just couldn't afford to keep any of those guys. Just real quick, two things I learned that I didn't know. I didn't realize how beloved Felipe Alou was there. And he's still alive, by the way. I think he's in his very early 90s. And they had him. He was on the documentary. He's still very lucid, talking. And they do a fan fest every year. He was there, Montreal Expos fan fest there. Now it's been 20 years. The reason why I did the documentary because it's been 20 years since the Washington Nationals now have been in existence. Um, but the owner at the time was in love with Jeff Torborg, and Jeff Torborg didn't do that well. Yeah, so they fired Felipe Alou, and he found out about it on the airplane from one of your pitchers that was really good with the Expos, Javi Vasquez.
Oh
He said
gosh.
he said, "Hey, I'm getting messages that you got fired," and he's like, "I did," And sure enough, as soon as he got off the plane, they let him know that he had gotten let go. Here's the last thing. I didn't realize this. David Samson, my guy, who I really like, but I have to tell you, they can't stand him in Montreal because they blame him and they blame Jeff Loria. And I didn't realize this. Did you know Jeff Loria is David Samsung's father? Is really a
Oh,
stepfather, but he's a father to him because he married his mother when he was 5 years old. And so Samson had nothing to do with sports or baseball. He was a Wall Street lawyer, and Loria had the idea, and he came in at the right time. He had the idea of hiring him so he could look at the business end of it. And um, let me put it this way: they just do different business very differently in Canada than they do here. And so right from the beginning, they didn't like either one of these guys, but especially Samson. Samson was young. They thought he was arrogant. He was on it, and he said, "Yes, I was." And he actually takes a lot of accountability for why that team just went totally broken. The fans just stopped coming. I had forgotten in the 70s and 80s they used to sell that Olympic Stadium out, which is a terrible stadium for baseball, by the way. And they showed a little bit why, but boy, oh boy, once you got into the 90s, after 94. That was the big killer, man. Was when they had the best record in baseball. The Yankees had the best record in the American League, and then the strike happened, and that was it. After that, they just had to start selling their players off. If they had went to the postseason that year, they said they probably would have been able to afford. If they had made a deep run, they'd have been able to afford to keep Moises Alou and some of the guys they had at that time. But it was awful. Cliff Floyd, I remember signed with the Mets. Um, so anyway, it's a good watch if you do get a chance. All right, we're ready to switch over to some football. Yes. Um,
yeah.
Let me pull up our chart and why don't you start to talk about it here and what stood out? The Jets are 0-7. Um, as before you even start though, I'd like to hear your take on the Giants game. I know it was heartbreaking, but you and I had gotten home later because I had to go to the airport, and when the fourth quarter, I texted you, what's going on in Denver? 19-0, And maybe I should have texted you that. That was the jinx. Because when I got home and I turned it on, I'm like, what happened here? So sum that game up. Is it a consolation for you? Like, are you feeling good about this team? Talk to us about the Giants and Broncos.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll start with this. That's got to rank as like top three most devastating losses
Uh,
I've ever experienced. Like as far as NFL, because like it's hard because like as a Giants fan, there's not a lot of big moments that they melted down. Like the only one I can really think of is their regular season game against Philly where they
yeah.
gave the ball to Deshaun Jackson.
Yep.
But like everything was looking so good and it just completely fell apart. How do you give up 33 points in one quarter? Like that's really what it comes down to.
This seems impossible.
Um, and really like Jackson Dart did a great job. You whether you want to blame it on the play call or the fact that he was a rookie trying to do too much, but that interception late in the game
That was huge.
was an
Yeah.
absolutely killer.
Yeah.
Um, but I think here's what I'm taking away from this game. I do think it can be a little bit of a learning experience for this team. I think I talked about it. I don't know if I just texted you or we said it on the air, but the Jets and Giants have the two worst records in the last 10 years overall. And a lot of losing football. It takes a while to learn how to win football games. Because, like, you look at teams like the Philadelphia Eagles. How are they doing as well as they are when they haven't been playing that great? The Kansas City Chiefs, it seems like every year they stumble into wins. But yet you see teams like the Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets, the New York Giants, where every single time that they have a win in their grasp, they find a way to lose it.
Yeah,
Like it's a skill to learn how to finish off an opponent.
it is. Yeah.
And when you have a team like the Denver Broncos, who are a top 5 team, who have a good quarterback in Bo Nix, you have to be able to learn how to put them away. Whether that's making them burn their third time out by running the ball, even if you have to punt again, or it's not giving up the big play. Like all of those different things, it's just a skill to learn. But I do feel good about this team. Um, Playoffs are still kind of there if they can put together a few wins. Um, like they're playing Philadelphia, and it's like, oh, did they actually beat them?
You beat them. Yeah.
They beat them a couple weeks ago, so it's not crazy now. So I think there is optimism because like there's been a lot, like I look at the Browns. Browns had a great win on Sunday. Dylan Gabriel had 0 touchdowns and 1 interception and threw for like 100 yards. Like you still don't really feel great about it. You're
Right.
not like, okay, I think we have the quarterback and I think we have the coach. With the Giants, even though they lost, I'm positive they have their future quarterback in Jackson Dart. I'm pretty sure they have the right head coach in Brian Dable. So it kind of makes me feel good moving forward. Let's see what happens next week.
Okay. That's fair enough. I didn't place anybody. The defense can't give up those type of points, although one was I mean he didn't run it in, right, for the touchdown, but he got down close that big interception. But there should have been a run call there. So you're right, but that's see Dable though, and I like him, I always have. How long has he been? 4 or 5 years now? Which I like that as well. I hate these teams that change coaches every other year. So I do like they brought him back. My point is that he should now, as a veteran head coach, know better on the play call. And I know it's not him calling the plays. I know he's got an offensive coordinator, but you're listening on the headset. You say, wait, no, wait a second, we're running this. Um, so I don't think, I mean, they cut the kicker, the poor guy, they cut him. Or I think on Monday they cut him. You could say he missed the 2 extra points. I mean, but you can't give up 33 points in one quarter period, let alone the fourth quarter. I mean, that's just crazy. I think it also showed that Denver's pretty good. All right,
Yeah.
let me share my screen. I don't have much to say on the Jets, Ken, to be honest. The only thing that you might not be aware of because you're there is that Woody Johnson spoke this week, and he said he has confidence in Aaron Glenn, which again, I don't think you give up on anybody after 7 games. But he said that the quarterback's rating is very, very low. So that was a little shot at Justin Fields. And listen, Tyrod Taylor, there's a reason why he's always been a backup. I mean, he's a very serviceable player, but he's not the future of the Jets. Neither it looks like is Justin Fields. So, I mean, I don't know. They played the Bengals this week, so Bengals haven't been playing that well, although they had a big win, right, against Pittsburgh. Who knows? Maybe they can, steal a win here or there. But anyway, go ahead and go over your categories, and I'll keep quiet.
Well, you alluded to the Jets, and I had said it last week.
Just the
The
category.
Jets they're in their own category. You got to win a game.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, like Justin Fields is not the quarterback in the future, and now like where are you at? And this is like why I feel good about the Giants even in a loss. It's like I look at the Jets and I'm like, okay, is Aaron Glenn going to be part of this mix next year? But this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll move on. Heard a take from Colin Cowherd that I'm curious what you think about it. Fire Aaron Glenn, hire an offensive-minded coach like, say, Mike McCarthy, and draft the highest available quarterback, which would probably be you can have your at this point you probably are going to have your choice of whoever. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know that there's a great quarterback. I mean, a can't miss quarterback coming out this year. There's some very good ones, I think, out there, and I'm gonna make it a point to try to watch a little more college over these last couple of months so I could start to spot some of them out. and we can talk about once we get to the championship series and everything. I am so against firing coaches this quick. In Aaron Glenn's case, you might have to. It might be really hard to bring him back. And um, I wanted Mike McCarthy when they hired Adam Gase, if you remember right, right?
Yeah.
Um, Nick Saban, I think the time may have passed him. I think we're seeing that with Bill Belichick. I think Saban is a phenomenal coach. He still seems young and spry, but I'm not sure you put him in this situation at that age now. But I hear what you're saying. Someone like that, someone that is offensive minded, that's always been successful, wherever they've been. Not too many of them are available these days, but McCarthy would probably be a guy that's still young enough, although he's not a spring chicken himself, but still young enough and available that you could probably go out and get him. I just would hate if it came. Listen, if the Jets win one or two games, or if perish the thought they don't win a game, it's going to be hard to bring back Aaron Glenn, and I hate that. I think you got to give every coach at least a couple of years, at least, and I don't even like 2 years, But would John Harbaugh be available at the end of this year?
Could be.
That might be a guy that I'd like to take a flyer on, possibly. Could you lure, probably not, but Sean McVay out of LA and get him to come here? So guys like that, would be ones that I think would be good coaches for the Jets, but I just hate to think about that we might have to fire him after 1 year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard because I also saw someone saying that he's kind of feeling like he's over his head a little bit. Like say Freddie Kitchens when he was in Cleveland. But it also seemed like a good fit at the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah, extra.
um
Yeah,
so we'll see. Um Playing for draft position. These five teams, their only important games are when they're playing other teams that are well below 500 to see who gets the better draft pick. Like the Browns. The Browns gave the Dolphins the better draft pick
yeah,
with their win. It's still and I don't know if it's just Stefanski trying to really um give a lot of confidence to Gabriel. But anytime someone brings up Shador, he really shuts it down. I was watching a video that said that no matter what happens, there are sources that say that Shador will start the final 4 games of the season. We'll see.
we'll see.
Um, but regardless, they're there. The Raiders are kind of there too. They've been weird. They've been a bad team. The Dolphins, though, I think are probably. We said that they might take a step back. They have taken a country mile back. Um, Mike McDaniel looks like he hates Tua. Tua looks like he's worse than ever. Um, Obviously, Tyreek Hill's injury is awful for them. So it just kind of seems like they're the team that really needs a reset. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Uh, the Saints, I think you have Spencer Rattler as maybe your quarterback in the future, but it's still going to be they need a couple of years. They need to fix their cap situation,
yeah,
and then you got the Titans who are just there.
yeah,
Um, Crazy disappointing. These five teams I think have really underachieved based on last year. The Cardinals I have here only because they started the year 2-0 and they haven't looked good since.
yeah,
Kyler Murray, has he played his last game or is he playing his last year in Arizona? Kind of seems like they might be done with him.
yeah.
I know he got hurt, but
I
still.
take a chance on him, man. And with the Jets, he's still young enough, and he's shown a lot more flashes than Justin Fields did.
Yeah, I get that, but I'd also, if I'm the Jets, I just hit the full reset button to get a
Yeah,
quarterback,
yeah,
get draft like a rookie.
yeah,
Um, the Ravens, obviously, they've had some issues. This is going to be a big game for them this week. You got Houston, who has also been really disappointing. Um, the Vikings, and then the Commanders. The Commanders a lot more health. The Vikings also, they really haven't gotten the quarterback stable this year. So there we go.
yeah,
Okay, the next tier. Have to take them seriously. So these are teams that maybe good, maybe not so good. but you have to take them at least seriously. Like they're going to give you a competitive game. The Jaguars are here. The Falcons, who have been very up and down, are here. Shout out to the Panthers, who have had a
Oh,
really good bounce up back season.
yeah.
Um, Joe Flacco and then Bengals is ridiculously crazy to watch.
Uh,
Um,
they won though.
especially like
Yeah.
they won. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like Browns fans are like crashing out. Like, how is Joe Flacco putting up 35 points and we can't get anything from him?
Because he has all world receivers. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from Joe Flacco. It's amazing that he's playing at his age, but that's the difference between the Bengals and the Browns.
And Flacco has always thrown a beautiful ball.
Yeah.
And they're probably like, yes, Flacco, we don't have to get it from Jake Browning anymore. So,
Yeah.
last two, the Cowboys, who continue to actually be pretty good. Dak
That
might
was
be
a
having
big
his
win.
best year yet.
Big win. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Giants, we already talked about them,
Yeah.
but at
Yeah.
this point, I think you got to at least take them seriously.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Actual expectations. These five teams have like expectations for this year. If they don't make the playoffs, people will be disappointed. If they are pretty early exits in the playoffs, depending on the team, I think they'd be disappointing. The Rams are here. You could argue the Rams might be a little higher. They've just been really good, and it seems like under Sean McVay, they've figured out how to replace people that they've lost. So
He's an
good for
amazing.
them.
Yeah. He's an
He
amazing.
really is.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers.
Yeah.
I was texting my friends a little bit. You know how we always have those like guys that finish their career in weird jerseys? A good example of that is going to be Justin Verlander in a San Francisco Giants jersey.
Yes.
I said like Aaron Rodgers Jets might be really weird in a few years.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers Steelers, we might actually see a playoff game with them. Like what in the world?
Mike Tomlin, man, also an amazing coach. Amazing coach.
He always figures it out.
Yeah.
Next, you got the Chargers. The Chargers have fallen off a little bit. I think this is these next couple games are pretty critical for them,
Oh yeah.
especially since you have Kansas City kind of nipping at their heels
Yeah.
and also Denver. So actually, I think Denver already took them over in the standings, but these are going to be a few critical games for them.
No doubt.
You got the Patriots, Drake May MVP, dark horse potentially. Like he's been amazing.
He's been amazing. He really has. He's developed greatly. Again, another great coach.
Yeah. And then the Bears, talk about great coaches.
Yeah.
What the Jets need is what the Bears have. They need that good offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
That like is ready to be the next like hotshot head coach.
Yeah.
Because once they've started rolling, they've been doing pretty well. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
all right. Next tier, top five in any other year. All of these teams, really, you can make an argument for being in the top five. It's just really hard for me to put more than five people up there. I have the Chiefs there because it's really hard for me to put the Chiefs as a top five team when they're third in their division.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that could easily change in a couple weeks. The Chiefs are by far the most dangerous team. Like if you're looking at a team like, I don't want to play this team, it's probably the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Yeah. They go back to what you said earlier. They know how to win. They know how.
Yeah.
When they don't play well, they know how to win.
Yeah. And I think that's why their start was so baffling.
Yeah.
Because like they know how to win. They know how to play poorly. Another comparison is like the Golden State Warriors from like 5, 6, 7 years ago. They're down by 15 with like 10 minutes left, and you know that game isn't over.
Right. Yeah. Good comparison. Yeah.
The Seattle Seahawks are up there. They are definitely a very good team, and it's just hard for me to put them over the other guys, especially a lot of them only losing one game. The 49ers, the biggest reason why I don't have them there is that injuries might pull them down a little bit. The Eagles, I mentioned the Eagles, they're winning, but they're not playing well. So that's kind of why I don't have them in the top five. Yeah. The Bills didn't play, so it's kind of hard to move them up.
Yeah.
I think it's just more of a testament to the teams that played better on top of it.
Yeah.
The top five, you got the Packers. The Packers have lost one game all year, and it was to the Browns, and it was kind of a weird game. So good for them.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers, obviously, they dropped a little bit. I would like last week, I would have said they were like top 1, 2. But overall, they might have the best resume aside from maybe the Lions of any team in the NFC.
Yeah.
Um, I got to give credit to the Broncos. I've kind of been underrating them a little bit, but like you're down, I believe it was 1,608 or something like that. Teams down by 19 with 6 minutes left.
You know,
And
I mean, Sean Payton is one of the most unlikable coaches, I think, in the history of football. Just like you never hear anybody say, "Oh, I love Sean Payton. He's a great guy." But boy, oh boy, I'd have him coach my team any day. That guy could win. He knows exactly what he's doing there. And for that team to hang into that game, and Bo Nix is, I mean, that last run that he made was absolutely, absolutely amazing, you know? Um, so up here, I think when you think about Tampa Bay being over the 49ers, even though the 49ers beat them this past week, if I understand you right, I think you're saying because of the injuries, and I think that's reasonable. Um, I think that's reasonable, and you've got then the Lions and the Colts, which is both teams are I mean, you could toss a coin, right, with the Lions and the Colts. They're just both so good. Okay, Ken, finish us off there with Lions and Colts, man. It's just unbelievable how good those teams have been.
yeah, so the Lions, obviously, with the way the Chiefs have been playing recently, you kind of have to take that loss a little bit off the ledger. And they lost to the Packers week 1, and they were trying to figure out like they lost their offensive coordinator, they lost their defensive coordinator. They've really figured it out.
Yeah.
And then the Colts are the only team to only lose one game, um, aside from the Packers, but they also have a tie in there. But you know how they lost their one game, right?
No, I remember you refresh my memory.
They lost because I don't remember if it was they had a guy about to cross the end zone. He
Oh,
dropped the ball, and
yes,
that's how so it was technically a fumble that was recovered by the Rams,
yes, yes.
and that
Oh,
was the difference in the game. So you could be talking about the 7-0 Colts led by
yeah,
Daniel Jones,
yeah.
and yeah, Anthony
Wow.
Richardson. Would you take a flyer on that guy?
Yeah, I think he's better than Justin Fields. And I'm not trying to put down Justin Fields, but I think Richardson has got more talent there. They're a little bit of the same type of player, but I Richardson at least had a little bit of a proven success record, you know. Um, all right, let me stop sharing. That's a great job as always. A lot of fun looking at those every week, I have to tell you. And I think from some of the comments we get, everybody likes looking at those too. You put a lot of thought into them. So, speaking of thought, what are you watching this week? Now, I thought it was Minnesota. When I saw Minnesota at LA, I just assumed that it was Minnesota Rams tonight. That's actually Minnesota Chargers tonight. Any interest there? I have not watched a Thursday night game. I can't remember when. It's been at least a year that I watched a Thursday night game. I might tune a little bit into this because there's no real other sports on. There's some NBA on, but
I don't know if we watch it or not.
yeah,
Um, because I agree. The only game I would have watched this year, but I was out of town, would have been the Giants. So
yeah, yeah. All right. Sunday. Is there any excitement there for Browns Pats?
no,
The game that you guys are gonna watch there.
um, no, it's going to be a blowout. It's going to be a rough game.
Okay. Wow. All right. But 1 o'clock, and now I think most of the nation will pick this up now. Giants at Philly.
That because
Yeah.
especially with the way that they played like a couple weeks ago, it's going to be a very exciting game.
I think so too, but I think the Giants have a shot at beating them this week. Here's a really, really interesting game at 1 o'clock, and that is the Bears at the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens fighting for their life here. Lamar will be back. Bears have been playing well. It's in Baltimore. What are you thinking?
Oh yeah, it's gonna definitely be. It's the Ravens are playing for their season at this point
Yeah,
because you can't lose a six game this early.
no,
But also the Bears, if they can go 5-2, that let me just pull up their division because their division
yeah.
is insane.
You start.
Um,
They'll be cooking a little bit.
because you got Green Bay's 4-1-1, they lead. Detroit's 5-2, Minnesota's 3-3. So you move to 4-3, you could end up in last place depending on what happens tonight. And like it can start to get late early even though you're playing well.
Yeah,
So they really need to keep pace with like the cream of the crop in the NFC.
yeah.
But also Baltimore, like you'll have Lamar back, you have the rest. Like this is the time where you have to go and you got to put a bunch of wins together. So
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay. That should be an interesting one. But I if I should be home, I'm going to be watching Giants Philly. Obviously I'll tune in a little bit Jets in Cincinnati. Big 425 game, man. Very interesting. Dallas at Denver. What are you thinking?
Um, I'm really hoping that Denver wins again because, like, I want the Giants to get out of last place
Yeah.
because the Browns they're no longer in last place. So,
Right. Right.
um, Isaac and I made a really big point of like, yes, the Browns were not in last
Yeah,
place.
last
We
plays.
got
Yeah.
really excited. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great matchup, and I can't wait to see Bo Nix and what he can do against still a pretty good Dallas defense. Uh, grudge match they're saying, but I don't think so because of what I saw with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. But Green Bay at Pittsburgh, Sunday night game. I typically don't catch the Sunday night games either because I'm usually too tired. I'll watch some of it and then I'm just like I can't. But this is a pretty good matchup.
yeah, Aaron Rodgers has a chance to do something that has only been done four times. He has a chance to beat every single NFL team. The
Oh,
only other guys, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady.
okay,
So,
okay. Which means you had to play on someone else. So the Packers are the only team he hasn't beat, huh?
yeah,
Yeah, I thought you were
Packers are the
gonna
only
say,
team he hasn't beat.
I thought you were gonna say that one of the few guys that beat two of his teams that he played for in one year. But maybe that's a who knows if that's a record too.
He
Uh,
probably has that too.
yeah,
Also, the only Super Bowl that he won was against the Steelers as a Packer. So,
that's true. Yeah, yeah. That was a good Super Bowl if I remember right. Um, Monday night, the Commanders at the Chiefs. Doesn't look like Jaden Daniels is going to play. I'm not sure that the Commanders this is going to be their year if Jaden Daniels is going to be in and out of the lineup here. But what are you thinking here? There is playing in Kansas City on a Monday night. That's a tall task.
yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Especially with Marcus Mariota as your starter. Um, but Monday night also brings one of those fun moments,
Yeah.
our sports equinox, where
Oh,
you have all four of the major sports all playing on the same night.
wow.
Because World Series Game 3, Monday
Yeah.
Night Football, and then
Yeah.
regular basketball and hockey. So,
Wow. Okay. All right. I like that. That's amazing. That's amazing when that happens. This is a great time of year. Really is. Um, you ready to do at least some sort of NBA preview here?
yeah, we had so much going on.
Uh,
It's been crazy. But yeah, let's get into a little bit of it.
All right. Well, I'll be brief. I'm going to go real quick. And we already made our predictions. I said Knicks Rockets. You said Knicks OKC. I feel extremely strongly. I don't know if I should be saying it like that, but feel very strongly that the Knicks have to get to the finals this year. This is the window. This is the window this year. And and the NBA, I think will look a little bit differently next year. Not that they won't still have a good core, but I think this is their opening, man. This is where they can get to the finals. Rockets and OKC, what a game that was. I watched a good chunk of that. Well, good chunk, second half I watched, but I watched both the overtimes. And that was such an entertaining game. But Kevin Durant did call timeout, but the refs didn't grant it, because that would have been a technical because they didn't have any more timeouts. Here's what I'd like to do on mine real quick. I'm going to just tell you some teams that I think are going to still contend in the West, aside from the obvious ones, right? Rockets, OKC. I think the Warriors are going to be really good. I think the Warriors will win 50 games this year, and I think they'll be dangerous come playoff time. I think San Antonio with De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle, now with Wembyana. Wembyana looked fantastic last night. I caught a few minutes of that game and saw the highlights this morning. I think San Antonio is going to be good. I think Zach Edey, if he now starts to play a lot more in Memphis, he only averaged like 20 minutes a game last year. I think Memphis might have something cooking. And Denver, they very quietly got Bruce Brown back. They got Tim Hardaway Jr., who's always a very serviceable player. Valanciunas from the Clippers they got. But the thing with, I think, to watch Denver, Kenny, is they don't have that whole cloud. We didn't know all that stuff that was going behind the scenes until they fired their coach and their GM on the same day, which was unbelievable. I think it was, 3 games left in the season? And even that, they still made a little bit of a run in the playoffs. I think without all of that stuff, they've got a new coach, David Adelman, good pedigree. His dad was an excellent coach in the NBA for a long time. So I think Denver's one of those teams no one is talking about that I think might, really sneak up on people in the West. Someone said this last night. It might have been Jamal Crawford, or maybe it's the night before on the NBA games. Oh, no, it was Richard Jefferson last night. He said you could have a team in the West that wins like 55 games in the regular season and gets bumped in the second round. That's how good the West is, this year. And that's not even talking about Dallas, the Lakers. Certainly there's teams that took a step back like Phoenix. Clippers, I think, will still be good. So anyway, those are the teams that I'm thinking will make some noise this year in the West. In the East, real quick, I think that Orlando is going to be that sneaky team, man. Getting Desmond Bane, what an amazing pickup he is. He's going to be a great player, I think, for them. The Cavs are deep. Watching them last night, and they didn't play as well. They didn't have a couple of their guys, obviously, last night either. But the Cavs are still. They didn't make many changes. I don't think they made any changes. They had a rookie that started last night, and he looked okay. But outside of that, they didn't make a ton of changes. I think they'll be really good. And of course, the Detroit Pistons, I think, will be really good. They lost a few players with Malik Beasley and Hardaway, but they picked up Duncan Robinson. They have Karis LeVert now. They've got a strong young core. I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. So that's my quick teams to really watch out for. But I think the Knicks should be the class of the East. And I think the Rockets and OKC will battle it out for class of the West. But I think you're going to have some teams that'll have a shot here. What say you?
I would say first off, I mean, in the East, I also agree. I think, well, you had said Cleveland, they made one kind of significant move. They got Lonzo Ball,
Yes,
who played
yes,
really well yesterday.
yes. Good one. Good call out. Yeah. I think they keep him healthy, until playoff time. That's a huge pickup for them. Thanks for pointing that out. Absolutely.
Um, but I agree. Orlando, I think, is going to be really good. I think Detroit's going to be really good. Obviously, I think they're still a step behind Cleveland and the Knicks. Um, the teams I think that'll obviously I think a team that'll take a huge step back is going to be the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
Obviously, they lost Halliburton, which that's going to be the biggest one. But long, deep runs in the playoffs, usually the next year, teams aren't as good.
Yeah.
So
Miles Turner. Also. They didn't replace those guys.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
They didn't replace them. I do agree with Richard Jefferson, though. I think in the East, you can win 40 games, 45 games, and still even make the playoffs and avoid the play-in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not in the West.
Yeah.
I think teams that will fall off a lot, you'll see like the Celtics, that's not going to be that surprising.
Right.
I think also Milwaukee, which will make the trade deadline very interesting.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
And part of me says I don't want to fully commit to saying I think Giannis will get traded, but I think Giannis might get traded at the deadline.
Yeah.
Um, and if he does, that can change the whole landscape of the
Oh
NBA.
yeah.
I do think in the West, a few teams to kind of look out for. I agree, San Antonio is going to be a big one. Um, I'm not a huge fan of the Lakers,
Yeah.
but also like Luca for a full year,
Yeah.
LeBron in year 23.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know. It feels like they need
Um,
one more top tier player. Not a big three or anything like that, but seems like they just need one more guy for me to take them really seriously.
yeah, and I agree. I think the biggest team to kind of that is kind of lurking there is Denver. Um, because you had mentioned the whole thing with the coach. Also, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Like, I think he is a Hall of Fame player.
Yes.
I think he's a little overrated, but I do think he's a Hall of Fame player. But it's just something with him in the locker room that kind of seems like it just throws people off.
Yeah. Yeah. I always liked him a lot more than you did.
Yeah.
Um, okay. What else?
Um, I guess real quick on the Knicks, I do think it's the Knicks conference to lose. Um, Mike Brown seems like he's a very good fit for this team. Um, they're more offensive focused, which I think works better with the guys that they have. I didn't realize that you could use a bench, which is fun. Um, I think that that'll really help, especially come playoff time, because you look at all the teams that went deep, they all had 9, 10 guys that they could rely on in the rotation.
Yeah.
Um, but how they, even though um, Donovan Mitchell had his quarter, um, oh, nothing that we already did. I just got a notification from ESPN, but it's not anything.
Eh,
It's
I
not
don't want
relevant.
to interrupt you there, but I want us to mention this. How amazing a reporter is Pablo Torre? He's the one who broke this story. I'm like, this guy, how does he find this stuff out? But anyway, ESPN made a big mistake in letting him. I don't think they fired him. I think he just left when Dan Le Batard left, and he had been a contributor for a while, and now he's kind of on his own. But boy, oh boy, he's amazing. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's like my favorite go-to reporter now
Yeah.
for news. Like even more than Shams, even more than Woj when he was still there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and I agree that this is their window. Halliburton gets healthy next year.
Yep.
Um,
Jason
Tatum
Tatum.
gets healthy next year. Who knows what's going to happen with Giannis? Like this is going to be the year.
Yeah.
Um, which also that's why part of me is like, if you can get a trade for Giannis, have it now, so he doesn't want to try to say go to the Celtics or
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah.
So I do think that the Knicks have a good shot, um, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I just wonder with Giannis, and it would be hard to ever say no, right? If the Bucks start off bad, certainly they'll shop him at the trading deadline, right? And certainly the Knicks are going to be one of the first teams that they call. Say the Knicks at the trading deadline, or they're on a roll, they're 20 games over 500. Do you disrupt that mid-season? It's actually more than mid-season, right? Trading deadline for basketball, you're almost three-quarters through the season, you know? Um, I don't know, man. I'd almost rather do that in the offseason, but if, like
Uh,
you said, though, if you have a chance to keep him from Boston or keep him from Philly, even keep him from going to the Lakers, wouldn't really care if he went there. But any of these
ooh,
teams, right? Any of these teams,
yeah.
do you have to pull that? But do you disrupt? And we've been down that road. This is why I ask you, and then we'll get to inspiration and wrap up, because I bring you the Carmelo Anthony year. I didn't get to see him yet. I heard he was pretty good on the halftime show on NBC, but they were rolling that year, right? With Amari and that team, and he couldn't wait. He's like, no, I got to get him. No, he was waiting. Donnie Walsh was waiting. It was the owner, James Dolan, that said, no, we got to go get him now. Um, and we didn't have much success that playoffs, but we did the next year. But then if we had kept that team together, that team was built to go to the finals. You know, if you had just added Carmelo, well, not even added Carmelo. If you added Carmelo in the offseason when you didn't have to trade any of those guys, you know, Raymond Felton, Danilo Gallinari, Amari Stoudemire. I know Amari's body was breaking down, but you know, still could have added that. All right, let's hit some inspiration. And here we go. Uh, Blake Trinan, I'm going to be really quick. Blake Trinan, he's kind of helped set a little trend here for baseball players to have a Christian song as their walk out or walk up music. He's one of about 5 or 6 Dodgers. I saw an interview with him recently. It was on September 30th, so very recent. And he said that even if, you know, there's all these thousands of people at the game, millions watching on TV, if they hear these lyrics, you know, to some of these songs, something might, you know, penetrate in. And so a couple of other quick things that he said. He said his God is the God of success and failures, that God is with him when he blows a save or, you know, when he pitches badly. And he said this is why he's able to bounce back from it real quick. He has peace because of his faith, and the voice of one can strengthen the spines of many. I love that he said that. And he said that wasn't his original saying, but I couldn't recall that being in the Bible. Maybe it is, but someone said that. I had heard that expression before. And so he thinks that just himself, you know, speaking, you know, the word of God whenever he can help strengthen many. So Blake Trinan, getting ready to pitch in the World Series. Inspiration for me today. What do you got aside from that beautiful young man that you're now holding?
Yeah. Yeah, this is Onyx's first appearance on the podcast. So
welcome to the show, Onyx.
Yeah, look at you.
Like, what's going on? Who is that? I know that voice. I know that's my grandpa. So what do you got for inspiration? If not, we can, you know.
I have 2 quick things.
Go ahead, yeah.
First, he got his first touchdown on Sunday in London. Congratulations to Travis Hunter. That's not the biggest thing that he's done this year.
No.
A week prior, he got baptized.
Amen.
So,
yeah.
Good for him. He got a lot of flack from guys like Skip Bayless and others that like were criticizing him for it. Like, you play football on Sunday, and that's when they do the baptism. So that's when he's doing his baptism.
I saw a reporter ask him, "Why'd you get baptized?" He's like, "What? Why did I get baptized?" And I mean, but he was very, very graceful, you know, in answering it. He was just, I would have been thrown aback too. That was amazing. I saw that. Absolutely amazing. God bless him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Second one is actually your boy Justin Fields. He was kind of asked like, "Oh, how are you dealing with this?" Because like there's the uncertainty of whether or not he's going to start again. And he says, "Well, how I see it is my faith is what anchors me. And I pray that God gives me the ability to tell more people about him. And if I can't do that as a starting quarterback, I'll do that as a backup."
Yeah.
And really said like through it all, the good and the bad, that my faith anchors me. Which kind of mirrors a lot of what Blake Trinan said, where it's like God is the God of successes and failures.
Yeah.
I mean, I always go back to the World Series 2001. Mariano Rivera's worst moment. I mean, you can also argue 97 or 04, but he said that he always felt like that was God's will because there was a plane crash that one of, I forgot who it was, but one of the Enrique Wilson, that's who it was.
I thought it
was going to be on.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it was Luis Soho, yes. But he was supposed to be on that flight that crashed, which he was planning on going on because they thought they would be in a parade, but then decided not to. So, God is the God of success and failure.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I really want to see Justin Fields do well. I really like him. But I'm not sure if being the New York Jets quarterback in this place and time is for him. So I will let you go with my grandson there. What's happening there, buddy? He's like, what's going on? I don't get it. We got a lot to talk about next week. There's gonna be a lot more that comes out about this story in the NBA. We'll certainly talk about it. We'll certainly talk about more NBA, more World Series we'll be talking about next week. So certainly football every week. Kenny, take us home.
This is Kenny Squared Head.
Kenny.
And also Onyx.
And
with Sports on the Positive Tip. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, Onyx.